All right, everybody, welcome to the Saturday special. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you are having a great weekend, and in honor of us being at SEC Media Days and being able to hang out with the guys at the Players Lounge, we wanted to break down our top 3 SEC moments of all time in football. Okay,
Good.
Just football specifically. So we're not talking basketball, we're not talking badminton, we're not talking equestrian, we're talking football. So I'm going to kick us off here. Make sure you comment down below. Let us know. You can follow us also on Twitter. You can find me at @JCrane_. If there's something we missed, which I'm sure a lot of people are going to think we missed one, make sure and let us know on social media. But I'm going to start off number 3 of the greatest SEC college football plays of all time, and it's the kick six. And it was hard for me not to put this number 1, but it's going to make sense why I didn't put it number 1 here in a second. So to set it up, for some reason, if your spaceship just landed here from planet Earth, we had a field goal. There was 0 seconds actually on the clock. Bama ran a swing pass to TJ Yeldon. This is in 2013. There was 0 seconds on the clock. Nick Saban complained. Let me back and look at it. There was 1 second on the clock. So you got a 56.5, 57-yard field goal here to win the game if Alabama makes it. Let's roll the clip.
56-yarder.
Almost blocked it off the edge.
No, does not have the leg. And Chris Davis takes it in the back.
You're allowed to run it out. He just ran the Madden play. I'm going right, then going left. We've all done it.
35-30, 35-40, 45-50, 45.
Tell him, Rod.
Gone.
Robinson Thurisi, get out of the way. What are you doing?
Wow.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Incredible.
Now, this did get voted the greatest college football play of all time by ESPN, but in my rankings, it is number 3 because you have to think about it. We all know that the Iron Bowl is the greatest rivalry in college football.
Second.
It's the greatest by leaps
second for
and
sure.
bounds.
For sure, second.
It is the greatest by a mile. But this one had playoff implications, national championship implications, everything that you could possibly have, SEC championship implications. So when you look at this game, when you put those two things together, it makes this a top 3 play of all time in the Southeastern Conference. Now, you'd say, man, if that's 3, how are you going to beat that, Jake? You couldn't beat that with a stick. Well, let me tell you about number 2. The only thing that can be bigger than that is to win the Natty. The only thing outside of the greatest rivalry that, in my opinion, from an SEC standpoint, is higher, is the walk-off. We love walk-offs in baseball. We love it. Playoff baseball, postseason baseball, all that. Well, we had a walk-off in the national championship game featuring 2 SEC teams, Alabama and Georgia. Now, Tua Tagovailoa had come in, replaced Jalen Hurts, and then Jalen Hurts come in the SEC championship game for Tua, led him to a win, and against Georgia. Remember, this is before Georgia had won their national championship, so they had been wandering around the desert for a long time looking for it. For some reason, after getting a huge sack, and you got Alabama backs against the wall in overtime, you run cover 2 because I think you guessed they were going to run a screen. They run 4 verts, and Tua hits Devontae Smith, future Heisman winner, now Philadelphia Eagle with Jalen Hurts, who is also on that team, for the national championship, ripping the guts out of every Georgia fan at the highest stage. You had a walk-off Game 7 of the World Series, basically. That's what happened. I don't know how you top that, but wait, I do. 1967. The first African-American player in the Southeastern Conference broke a huge barrier. Nate Northington played at the University of Kentucky. And now it's crazy for us nowadays to think about this, like why you wouldn't let just everybody play. But this was a huge step. You saw Alabama follow. You saw the rest of the SEC follow. And now today, we see the opportunities for young men, obviously, of all races to be able to play. But Nate Northington really broke the barrier and showed everybody how it should be. And today it's made the game better, obviously, all across the board, not only in the Southeastern Conference, but in the South. Looking back at our history in the South, knowing what happened, him being the first African-American player in the Southeastern Conference was a huge, huge deal and is without a doubt number one in my mind because it's bigger than a play, it's bigger than a touchdown, it's bigger than a tackle or anything like that. To me, Nate Northington is number one, and I don't think it's close.
Man, I like that list.
Thank you.
Well done. I'll go now.
Thank you, sir.
Okay?
You go,
Number
David.
3. I'm going to start actually with the University of Georgia and our good friend. I can say our good friend now.
He is.
Mr. Herschel Walker.
Of course.
Okay? Mostly because I grew up in Georgia, and there's not a house that I would go to that didn't have this poster, basically, on the wall. Let's run this clip right here from Georgia. First game of his career, first game of the season, his freshman year.
Oh, no.
The My God, a freshman clip.
No.
Yeah.
He's a freshman.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bam. That's on every poster in the state of Georgia.
That is
Now,
a train.
First game of the season. This is Herschel's freshman year. Georgia wins 16-15. Okay? That was the closest game of the season. They went undefeated and went on to win the national title. So now, and now that he's signed our jersey back here, that we've gotten some Georgia love, I feel like we need to get Herschel back in here and just play this clip over and over again.
I'm sure
have
he
him
wouldn't
break
mind it
down.
either.
Yeah, well, I just saw Bill Bates get CTE live on television.
That's a real I'm your dad type of moment.
Man, unbelievable. All right, so next, second, I have kick 6 as well. What we have here, fan interactions. I would be shocked if this isn't on Blaine's list somewhere too. So
Oh, for sure. I'd be willing to
let
bet
him-
my bottom dollar.
Yeah.
I'm going to let him break it down as well. Do we have fan interactions here? Go ahead and play this.
I'm going to pretend like I'm not enjoying this.
I think I know some of these people, actually.
I think that's you in the corner.
That's not me in the corner. That's y'all's cousin.
The one Auburn fan. The one Auburn. There's nothing like that feeling. Oh, here you go. You got him sitting around the table looking at the TV.
Oh, no.
Right now, you know it's a disaster. Right now, you saw the cloud, the cumulus nimbus.
All right. And now I'm going to go to number 1. A little more overlap here because I have the Tua touchdown in overtime as my number 1, and I'll tell a little story. Actually, let's run it first here real quick so we can see it.
Secondary.
Jake was talking about it. He got cover 2 here from Georgia. And if you had told me that one of these guys throwing or catching would win the Heisman, of course I would have said Tua. Ended up being Devonta Smith. Look at that.
That launched Devontae Smith's career, man.
For sure. So I'm going to tell a story here. So the first night that I met Mr. Richard Todd, former Alabama quarterback, my future father-in-law, was the night that Alabama was playing Clemson in the national title in 2017, the Deshaun Watson year, right? Clemson goes on to win that game. Richard was a class act all night. I know he was hurt, and I know he was upset. It was a class act the whole night. So 2018 comes around. Alabama's in another national title.
Surprise.
Oh, I'm shocked.
Surprise. But now I've known him for a year. We've put back a couple makers marks. Alabama's down 13-0 to Georgia in this game at halftime. So Richard's going in, he's saying, man, this is pathetic. This is just pitiful. We can't do anything. We're going to lose. Georgia's going to win. I was like, what do you think? You think they'll put 2 in the second half? Got to get something going. Got to get something going on.
Got to make an adjustment, Coach.
Nope, won't do it. Nick Saban won't do it. He won't put him in. There's no chance. He's a freshman. Won't happen. So anyway, Tua goes into the game in the second half, throws 3 touchdowns, hits this game winner in overtime. After that, Alabama wins the game. Richard said, I told you he would put him in, and they would come back and they would win that game.
Look, Captain Hindsight, I do want to say, I said playoff implications earlier in 2013. I meant postseason implications. Obviously, college football playoff wasn't around then. Auburn ended up playing Florida State in the national championship and blew it more than absolute.
Thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate
problem.
that. All right, time for my list. A lot of people call this the comeback. I call it the comeback. All right, 2010. And before we start this clip, I just want people to realize Auburn, I believe, we're down 24-0 at halftime.
Yes.
Let me go through some of the names that was on this Alabama team. I couldn't go through all the names because we don't have enough time on this show to all the guys that win the NFL. I'll start here. Mark Barron, Eddie Lacy, Trent Richardson, Julio Jones, Marcel Darius, Dante Hightower, Courtney Upshaw, and C.J. Mosley.
How do you score?
Good luck. Auburn had Cam and Nick Fairley, and basically that's it. So Auburn somehow has came back in this game. I will never forget it. I'm sitting in Hoover on a 7-on-7 tournament that I ended up getting hurt at, which was not fun. Came back, and the play that made it at the end, Lutchenkirchen R.I.P., one of the best tight ends to come through Auburn history. Go ahead to run the clip so I can just smile the whole time you're playing it. You get the motion from the top side, the fake. Roll out to the right. Where is he?
Tight end hide.
He's hiding. Boom, there in the end zone. And if you don't know whose responsibility that was, Dante Hightower will definitely tell you whose it is because he's super pissed because someone messed up. So that's number 3. Then number 2. Number 2, West Brom's money in the bank. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Auburn would go on to win the game as well.
So number 2, Bluegrass Miracle, 2002. Okay, and this is where you learn not to dump water on your coach until there are 4 seconds on the clock. And this is also where Nick Saban sold his soul to the college football devil.
Yeah, use it 4 zeros on the clock.
Yeah, well, yeah, they get the kick return first, all right? Once, go ahead and run it. They get the kick return. I believe there's 8 seconds left when they get the kick return. He runs out of the bound, super quick, get it 4 seconds. This is so smart from a special teams guy.
Nick Saban.
You should know this, all right? I don't think you give this much up.
I think you do. I'm not worried. You're catching the ball and falling down at the 25.
He calls the timeout. All right, here's Nick. Nick's got to play drone up for this. He's had it the entire time. All right? So they're going to drop back. They're going to roll out to the right, and here we go. You just can't what? Can't bat the ball up. You can't bat the ball up. And here we go. And then I'm gone. Oh, Kentucky fans, you thought you won something other than basketball, and it just got taken right out of your hands. That's just super unlucky to him.
Just how they drew it up.
Well, again, my problem with all these Hail Marys is, like, all right, let's rush 3. So then you let them break contain, which gives the receivers more time to run down the field to give you even a chance, if you can't reach the end zone, to bat the ball up. But Nick Saban, I'll never forget, after this game, this is on Jefferson Pilot Sports. A lot of people don't remember that. I remember it. They had like 9 Daves. It was like Dave Neal, Dave Baker, Dave Davidson, Dave Daverson. Like, it was everybody's name Dave. But at that post-game interview, Nick Saban was like, I feel bad for Kentucky. He literally said, I feel bad. And I felt bad for Kentucky.
All right, number 1, surprise, surprise, guys. It's the greatest football play ever to exist. I don't know how it wouldn't be at my number 1. And I know you two had it, and you ran through the play, and you had a fan reaction. Do we have any more fan reactions for this? I think we have one here. Let's run it. I can just sit here and bask in this all day.
Well, it's so much different, too, when you're in there with the other team's fans. Like, if you're by yourself, that's one thing. You get hyped, go nuts. But if you want to talk about how many fights were in fist fights between friends and family in living rooms and outside by the pool, like that night.
You play a dangerous game when you're just the only fan of a certain team going to someone else's house.
It's a risk.
They're all the same game. It can either be terrible the whole night or glorious. It's not a win-win. It's either a really big win or a really big loss. This is my favorite clip, by the way. Just watch on this.
Yeah, this guy's absolutely
so awesome.
losing his mind. And again, it was such a crazy play. Just an absolute crazy. It's the most Auburn thing ever. You want to know what the most Auburn thing ever is? You get the prayer in Jordan-Hare, the deflection against Georgia. You get the kick 6. You go all the way to the national championship. You get up big. You're dominating, and you blow it. It's the most Auburn thing ever. So whenever you hear somebody saying it's just Auburn being Auburn, that's what it means. That's 100% what it means.
But those were huge moments. And I didn't have anything, I didn't have any one moment from the University of Florida, but I do think back just, Danny Warfel years, even Chris Leak, Tim Tebow. I mean, they had a bunch.
I think about Tim Tebow's speech after the Ole Miss game.
Yeah.
He's like, I swear, nobody's ever going to work harder, play harder, give the referees more water than me, Timothy Tebow.
Is that how he sounds?
Is that his accent?
Yes, he's from, there is no South Pontchartrain.
Wild Labatt.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Forrest Gump?
Yeah, that's exactly right. What I have right here is a transcript for the Water Boy.
You had that. You had the Auburn punt, block 2 punts.
Yep.
In the last
A lot
5
of
minutes.
Auburn.
Well, I mean,
You
think
go
about
back to
it.
the big memories in the SEC.
I mean, I could say Alabama, LSU in the rematch, for the national championship, the absolute slugfest that we saw after the 9-6 win earlier in the year. Johnny Manziel, and that
Oh,
A&M
yeah,
team,
the ball
you could
he-
have a
And I guess we
fight.
could have put Georgia up there winning the championship.
You could have put Georgia just because it was so long, but to me, when you're looking at the best SEC moments, I look at stuff that's off the field too. I mean, Nick Saban deciding to go from Michigan State to LSU. I mean, that was a huge deal. Think about how much money that started to make the Southeastern Conference, because then he goes to the NFL and says, all right, I've already been in the SEC, so I'm going back to college. I'm going to be in the SEC. Goes back to Alabama and basically changed the whole game of college football.
Yeah.
And it's just so funny looking at these games because the game has changed so much, even from these clips that are somewhat recent. I mean, even from Tua's walk-off against Georgia to win the national championship, there's been all these seismic shifts that we've seen in college football. And you know what? We ought to do this for the Big Ten. We ought to do this for the Big 12, ACC, and if the Pac-12 is still here by the time we get to it, I guess we could do one.
Yeah,
for
what's
them.
that?
That's exactly right. But make sure you're following us on all platforms, TikTok, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Go to thedailywire.com. Become a member weekday 2 to 3 Central on this YouTube channel if you're watching. Make sure you keep checking us out. Hope you're having a great weekend. Talk soon.